I know there'll probably be responses on those who will say, but we have the meta church, and it's working and people are coming to know the Lord through the meta church, right? I'm not denying that. I'm saying there is you have to be very cautious because Hi, my name is Eddryll.
And my name is Ping.
And this is the Teo-logy podcast.
So today we're going to talk about something that Eddryll in particular is pretty convicted about.
Yeah.
It's an interesting term. I think he coined it himself.
No, I didn't coin it.
Okay, so it exists out there, but I guess you rarely hear about it. It's this thing called digital discipleship.
Yeah, the term is still catching on. Many authors who write about digital discipleship has given their take on it. And I myself, holding fast to that word with that conviction, will have a slightly different take as well.
Yeah, and I think it is quite an up and coming topic because of the era that we are in now. And I don't think the two words that make the term are foreign to anybody. But yeah, so if I were to ask you, how would you explain what is digital discipleship? How would you go about it?
I think we will split it up again. Actually, the definition I'm going to give is very simple. If discipleship, we begin with the word discipleship. If discipleship is to journey with the person, be it through the preaching of the word, through spiritual check-ins and everything that they do, journey with them towards Christ-likeness, then digital discipleship informs you of the mission field. Yeah, that is not physical actually. So that is in the shortest, most succinct essence of what digital discipleship is.
So it's doing discipleship in the digital space.
Correct. And bringing them towards Christ-likeness, growing in Christ-likeness online. Yeah. And instantly when I give this definition, obviously a lot of question marks come in place already, right?
So how...
Yeah.
But before how, let's ask you why. So why is it that you are interested in this area, and how do you even get started in this area?
I started off with, I think, around 2019, where I came to discern by myself how toxic the digital world has become. And actually toxic in the sense, the big players that back then was the social media. I mean, still is now. And I decided to delete my Facebook and deactivate my Instagram account. And it's upon that space that I was convicted, where, God prompted my heart, says, by the way, Eddryll, the very generation, if you say make disciples of all nations, the very generation and the largest nation is by far not in the physical realm, but in the digital world. And statistics do, pan out, right? Like, of October 2023, I do need to see what's the latest data because it's always changing. The number of users, social media users, is 5.16 billion. That's almost like more than twice than India or China.
So this social media user is not just for one platform, right? It's just collectively anyone who uses social media.
Correct. Anyone, collective. So by collective, we are talking about YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp.
TikTok.
Yes, correct.
Which probably wasn't as big back then when you were thinking about it in 2019, right? I can't remember when TikTok started, but definitely it's boomed, especially pandemic era till now.
Yeah, and I think TikTok was very smart. ByteDance, the company, what they did was it acquired Musical.ly, another app that had already millions of users in America. So they bought it, instantly converted, right? From one digital citizen to another digital citizen.
Yep.
Yeah, so why digital discipleship? Was the conviction that if I have discerned that the place that I saw was very toxic, there's still a lot of people driving on the internet highway seeking for answers, for some solace. And in this place called the Cyber Nation, the digital space, is it is designed. A nation usually try to work for the betterment of its citizens. And in this case, because of the algorithm, there is no form of real human flourishing. You use its services, but in actual sense, it is actually using you. I wouldn't use the word controlling or mind washing, but it is designed to hook you, to keep you addicted. And whatever content that makes it go viral and trendy, whatever catches your eye, it captures your attention. And people are stuck there. Yeah, and so the conviction here is they are stuck there when living water is provided in Christ alone, you see. But they're drinking water from these digital wells, still being thirsty, but hoping to
Be satisfied.
be satisfied, you know. And there are multiple reasons of the wells that they drink. I mean, if you want to go through some, it's fine, but yeah, so there are just plenty.
Yeah, but so you're painting the digital world in a rather negative light, and hence that was so-called your calling, right, to do digital discipleship. Surely you can't deny, though, that there are benefits to the digital world. Like, we put our podcast on a digital platform, right?
Correct. So that's a very good observation that you've made. So obviously you will notice that my undercurrents is that I take it as we are heading to a very dystopic kind of a season, right? And I am not saying stop using internet. I think the internet technology, smartphones, they are here to stay. And you know me, I am a tech geek, as in I love innovation.
Yeah.
And so I recognize innovation as a gift from God. Yeah. So I am not denying its uses. So for example, technology is a good thing, right? I when I want to plant a tree, right? Using my bare hands, it really hurts. But having a spade, for example, helps by leaps and bounds. And the biblical analogy that comes to mind is Genesis 11, where the group of people came together and they had the technology to make brick and mortar. Yeah, in those days, right? But they use it to build the Tower of Babylon because they want to make a name for themselves. So technology can either be used to make a name for God, or you can use to make a name for yourselves, or which is the algorithm, how it's, you can see, profile picture, the likes, the followers. It's all to make a name for yourself in many ways. Yeah. And so in that sense, technology needs a lot of redeeming. But my current stance here is tough, even for me, because everything that the current model of social media is designed to make you addicted. Yeah. So for whatever good things it provides, the damages done, I think, are way more.
Okay. And that's because of the business model that all these social medias have, right? Like you said, technology can be neutral. You can use it for good, you can use it for bad. It's just a tool. But the current technologies that we have do have a certain business model that is to generate income for whoever created it, right?
Yeah. And it's because it's very systemic. We are living in a very consumerist mindset. What can I get out of it, right? So now products are designed to try to sell you what you think you need, and they package it, buy in. The buy-in is going to be very good. But the business model is you want it to be free. You want my services to be free. Hence, I need to use you to sell your information, your data, and whatever you can give me. Since you don't pay for it, you pay with your identity.
Or even sell your attention, right? You can sell your attention to companies.
Correct. And the attention is part of your digital identity, where you look, how you speak to advertisers, and advertisers pay every time you look at their app. Yeah. And that's the business model. You pay with your attention, which is the largest currency to date.
So it sounds like when you have seen for yourself what social media or these digital platforms can do, of course they can do a lot of good, but they are slanted to prevent a lot of human flourishing, and that in a sense convicted you to be involved in this kind of digital discipleship.
Yes, to enter back into that space. So I activated my Instagram. I couldn't deal with Facebook anymore.
Which is fine. Nowadays, it's for the older generation, right?
Sure. And I started this thing called the Malaysian Christian memes.
So let's talk a bit about how you do digital discipleship. So one of your biggest platforms, of course, that you're involved in is this thing called Malaysian Christian memes on Instagram, right? Walk us through what that entails and how you can do discipleship through this digital platform.
Yeah, I think when I started Malaysian Christian memes, I wouldn't be able to articulate what am I doing back then as I am now. It didn't start off with I had this vision, I had this plan. I just wanted to be faithful in reaching out to those who were struggling. And so I reactivated my Instagram account. I started trying to, why not I make Christian Malaysian centric memes. And it's a very tough thing to make, it's just tough to make Malaysian Christian memes. But I did it anyway. What I'll do is I create a picture format that is relatable to the current generation. And I put in a Christian message in short for them to capture it. And then in the captions, there'll be a short sermonette to just further expound more. So that's the main thing of what I do. I didn't put my identity there. I didn't show who I was because I wanted to make sure that they followed a community rather than a personality. So from there it grew. Okay, it came to a point where I need to show myself because the numbers were growing, but I didn't want it to grow. So I needed a team to come alongside to help disciple alongside with me the community that was now on Malaysian Christian memes Instagram account. And so then from there we evolved, right? Once a month we do praying for the community where we post up prayer requests and we intentionally type out prayers. I mean, you intentionally type out prayers for the people, and then we try to do follow-ups on how things are doing with them. And then every week we have Malaysian Christian Response where the community can ask any questions regarding their faith and we will just engage with them, help them see from a biblical perspective what the Bible says and how to, hopefully with the wisdom and the grace to navigate certain issues within their faith. And that's the kind of touch-based points we have. Then there was a season where we did a podcast also to engage the Malaysian church.
What was that called?
Malaysian Christian Talks.
Yeah, if you want to look it up.
Yeah. And a few other things that came out the previous a few episodes before you saw the card game, the fellowship card game, it was born out of that need to disciple as well. Yeah.
But that is pretty much offline, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I think speaking of the card game and you trying to be anonymous as an identity on Malaysian Christian Memes platform, I think it was quite cool when we came to Johor and nobody knew us, right? But when we took out the card game, one or two people just flicked it and said, "Oh, from Malaysian Christian Memes, are you the meme guy?"
Yeah.
Which was really cool for me because it meant that people didn't recognize his face. They just recognized the ministry, and that was really what we wanted to achieve out of it.
But I think even until now, people still chuckle at what memes, I'm like, yeah, it's fine, chuckle all you want. But I'm just being faithful lah. Yeah.
And we like to say that memes are the modern day parables, right?
Yeah, I would liken it lah to if yeah.
Yeah, so it's just using relevant things, telling relevant stories to point people to biblical truths which are, timeless through the ages.
Correct. So if there's any trend that I want to make real, is Jesus Christ lah, the only trend that that will continue on eternally.
But on that note, it triggered two questions for me. First question for you would be, since you jumped on the Instagram bandwagon to do this discipleship because it is the tool of the time, right? Would you do the same for any next upcoming platforms? For example, now, would you create a TikTok account?
Sadly, no. Because I don't have the mental capacity to have to manage everything. And I trust the time will come when someone else will create Malaysian Christian TikTok. And it's not that I don't want to do. I think that if I engage in that on top of Malaysian Christian memes, that would mean that I find I'm actually being distracted for what I really need to do, in which the real discipleship that happens in the context of a local church and the physical discipleship that trumps digital discipleship.
So you're saying that as much as you're involved in digital discipleship, you would still prefer physical discipleship?
Yes, and even in the space of digital discipleship, how we engage them is we try to help them see that at the end of the day, this digital space, the fact that it's digital, right? Digital discipleship, it is the very evidence of a clear brokenness that people are running to these digital wells to be quenched. And not running towards it. So even in that engagement, instead of running to Jesus, right? Even in that engagement, it speaks of a very brokenness or fallenness in that. And so the whole goal of why I do what I do also is to hopefully one day connect them back to their local church or to see them physically. Yeah. So that I think the word I'm looking for, it is a clear evidence of something lacking. Because at the end of the day, right, Jesus didn't die on a pixelated crypto screen. He died
NFT.
on an yeah, that was what I was thinking for. See lah, on an NFT, but and then to be sold for millions. But he died on a physical plane to save millions. So it's in that space where I also my conviction, what some call online church, is not really it's not a thing. I don't buy into the idea. I don't buy into the metaverse church.
Yeah, on that note was actually my second question on online church. So I'm sure people can already see that the activities that you do are slightly different from an online church. But what's your take on churches that, put their sermons up online? They also have an Instagram account. They advertise their events. They say, come join us. They do, nutshells of, takeaway from the week, or even they interview church members with their testimonies. How is that different from your take of digital discipleship?
Very good question. I think the first thing we need to take into account is whatever they're doing, nothing wrong on the surface, right? However, if you hold on to the definition of discipleship, then what you just explained was just probably marketing. Marketing of what their church has done and all that, which is totally fine. Snippets, you want to make your reel go viral, totally fine. I am using the platform more than that to touch base, to attempt to create genuine relationships, to help them see that the space that they're in is not the space to where they need to remain. Yeah.
So it's a bit like a analogy of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the angel of the Lord going in to draw Lot out. So you're going into the digital world to hopefully connect them back to the real world.
Yeah, and hopefully none of them look behind to turn into a pillar of salt. But I think again, I know there'll probably be responses on those who will say, but we have the meta church, and it's working, and people are coming to know the Lord through the meta church, right? I'm not denying that. I'm saying you have to be very cautious, because if the meta church means I don't need to attend a physical church, and the meta church is enough for me, and that is a solid, grave, unbiblical response, because John 13:34-35 says, love one another. Jesus says, a new commandment, love one another as how I have loved you. By this you know that you're my disciples. And that can only be expressed fully in the physical realm, not in the digital realm. Yeah, and I think two things that you I want to point out. The first thing is, again, I really want to highlight, just in case someone missed the point, that there's nothing wrong if the churches want to promote their stuff. In fact, the Village Church, one of the pastors that I tend to listen to, Matt Chandler, upon posting his free sermons online, he does make a disclaimer every time that he is grateful that the Village Church is able to provide the sermons as a free resource, but please go back to your local church. That's where God has planted you. My hand is doing a Matt Chandler thing already. That's where God has planted you to serve. But here is a means to just grow as you listen to sermons. So that's one. I think the other one is the weird sense, right, to say this. So let's take the pandemic season when we all were going through MCO, right? Malaysia was on lockdown, right? I am very grateful for WhatsApp video call, to be able to call Yan Ping, my fiancée back then, every day. It will be so much more painful to not see her, and I'm giving thanks to technology, the available, kind of thing, just to be able to have a chat with her, hear her voice, do covers with her. But being able to see her is also the reminder that we are in lockdown, that I cannot see her physically, right? And there is no such thing as the moment the MCO was lifted, I tell my wife that I love you so much, let's continue on WhatsApp call. No, the first thing I do is I'm gonna find her, I'm gonna hold her, hug her physically and say I miss you so much.
먼저 널 찾고 싶었어. 살아있었어. 살아있을 줄 알았어. 고맙다고 말해주고 싶었어.
Right? And that's why it sounds really weird when the people says, I love the church, but I don't need to go to the physical church. You know what I mean?
I just tune into the online.
I just tune into the online service and I'm like, it's either you don't understand what church is or you're really just lying to yourself lah. You know, as an easy convenience, or we're out to, to avoid loving one another. Yeah.
Very interesting thoughts. We talked a bit about how the space is, crafted or designed to be a bit more negative in terms of usage, and we also talked about how you can redeem that space, right? And at the same time, it doesn't replace physical discipleship. I want to kind of close with this last question on, at the same time, there are certain strengths about the digital realm which surpasses or exceeds the physical realm. And that's in two main things, right? People always talk about scalability and speed.
Yeah.
You can reach a person faster with the digital realm. Do you think digital discipleship can leverage on these two things of skill and speed?
Oh, definitely. I think I am leveraging on them now. So I think one clear idea is to never disregard the potential and the role of technology. It is only when the technology is used against you that's the caution, right? So one skill and speed is, right, I am still keeping in touch with students in Germany, in New Zealand, all the way around the world. There's one point even in America, we will do Zoom calls, Google, WhatsApp text, and I'll do spiritual check-ins with them. And, without this technology, I would not be able to prolong that journey. I mean, I'm entrusting that if that didn't happen, God will send someone else. But now I am able to scale up to more people. Not that I don't have a limit, but because of these technologies, I'm able to do what I can do, generally quite effective because I'm able to, thanks to technology. Yeah.
And another space in which I see scaling up is when we do the Q&R, right? Question and response on Saturdays. Sometimes you see the questions repeated. And that's when you realize that a lot of people have similar questions, and you could spend time doing one-on-one and explaining to people, but you could also just post the response and 200-300 people will see in a day, right? So that kind of helps with the scalability of discipleship.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Final words on digital discipleship. Do you have any hopes on what that ministry will look like for you?
You ask good questions. It's my wife. Okay. Wow. Okay. So, I am currently just writing my thoughts down and trying to organize them to see how it's going about. One of the many opportunities that I'm getting now is I'm running workshops on digital discipleship. So, it is my extra step forward to say, I don't want to be alone in this. I need to call more digital disciple makers to enter this space with me, whether you're a digital immigrant or a digital native.
Can Google up what those mean?
Yeah. And my hopes is maybe 5 years down the road, there'll be more of others doing what I do. Even now in Malaysia, there are a few already, and I'm grateful. During the pandemic, we got connected, and all that. But now, I hope there'll be more. I need more angels to be sent into Sodom and Gomorrah to bring more lots out, kind of thing. Yeah. There's that image, and there's also the image that the technology needs to be redeemed. And I'll probably just end with this point. I have a theory that until the day Jesus comes again, that redeemed technology will not be fully manifested. And I think until Christ comes again, and it's like the kind of thing where he takes out the iPhone and shows this is how you're supposed to use it, and go like, whoa, kind of thing. So I don't think we'll reach that point yet. But until that day comes, it's just to constantly prepare, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is near. That's the message that wherever, whether digital or physical, that's the message I'll cry out to.
Yeah. And fun fact on that note about Jesus coming back, someone once had a theory, right, that likely Jesus could come back through the internet, which is how everybody gets to see him coming back all at the same time.
That someone is Dr. Alex Tang, correct?
The late Dr.
The late Dr. Alex Tang, yeah. Wish I could have that conversation with him, but we never did.
Yeah. That I feel that's a good note to end about using the digital world to disciple and how God can use all things. But of course, acknowledging the dangers that come with using the digital platforms, which you have rightly pointed out. So yeah, I think this was quite a fruitful conversation. That's it for now.
Oh, this is the Teo-logy podcast.
Till next time. Bye.
Bye.